One of the last steps you need to complete before sending something you create on a computer to print is converting images from the RGB color style to CMYK. So I'm going to show you how to do this today using both Adobe InDesign and Adobe Photoshop. So you'll need both of those open. And then I'm going to go ahead and open the yearbook pages that I'm going to show you this on. Once you have your page open and you have all the images you're going to use placed, this is going to be your starting point. You need to make sure that you can access the links tab, and if you don't see it, you can go here and check that, and the links window will pop up. So if you look now, you'll see on the links is every image linked that we're using on this page. And if you hover over that or you click it, it will tell you the info. It'll tell you the name of the photo, and it will tell you the color space, which it says RGB right now. RGB stands for red, green, blue. Those are the three colors you need when using light to make an image. When you look at any screen, those are the colors being used on that screen to make any color you see. Now, when we take something that we're looking at on a screen and we're going to print it out on paper, that's where we need to change the color profile, because when we print something on paper, we no longer use light, we use something called pigment. And pigment is what's in paint. It's even pigmentation is even what's in our skin. And for that, you need 4 colors. So instead of RGB, I think I already have one converted here, this image. You need CMYK. The 4 colors you need to make any color when we print is cyan, magenta, yellow, and then K stands for black. And then one more thing happens when we take something from a screen and then we print it out on paper. And that's that whatever the image looks like on the screen, when we print it out on paper, it's going to appear about 20% darker than it appears on our screen. So that means we need to do a couple of things. We need to convert each of these photos from RGB to CMYK, and we also need to lighten these photos about 20% without washing them out. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So when you get to your page, what you're going to do is you can go to each photo that you have selected. If you actually click on the photo, it will show you which one it is, but I'm going to start with this one. And then over here in the links, I'm going to hold down the Control key, which is on the bottom left corner of my keyboard. And then I'm going to click on this, and a little option window comes up, and it says Edit With. And I'm going to go to Edit With Adobe Photoshop. So this is going to open up now in Adobe Photoshop. So here's our image in Adobe Photoshop, and what we're going to do first is we're going to go over here to the Adjustment screen. We're going to click on the second one that looks like little mountains or stalagmites. And we're going to click over here, and we should see this little mountain range thing. And what we want to do is we want to go to each individual color. We're going to go to red first, and we're going to bring the 2 outside ones, so the white one and the dark one, not the middle one. We don't touch the middle one yet. We're going to bring them in till right before this white starts appearing on each one of these. And sometimes you'll see it and you don't need any adjustment. Like I'm not having to adjust the white one over here at all. I'm just bringing this in just a little bit. You can see what happens if you bring it in dramatically. It changes the color, so we don't want to do that. But we're just to where the mountains start to form down here. So we're going to keep doing that. Our white ones didn't need any adjustments, but the dark one did. So notice I went to red, green, and blue and did that. Now I'm going to go back to overall RGB. And I'm going to take this middle one, and this is where I can lighten the photo. As you can see, if I drag this way, it lightens it, this way, darkens it. So we're starting right here in the middle at 1. And what we want to do is about 1/5, 25%. We want to start whitening it. We want to whiten it because what we're trying to do is get the dark areas, the darkest areas. If you can start to see some details in them, look at that. All of a sudden you can see this where you didn't see it before. You want to start to see some of those details without it starting to look like, now it kind of looks like there's fog out there. We don't want it to look foggy, so we're trying to find a balance between washing the picture out, which is what makes it look foggy, and seeing some of those details. So I think for this image, it looks like right about there's the spot. And once we have that, doesn't look like there's fog out there. We can see some of the details on the darker areas. Now we're ready to switch this from RGB to CMYK. So we're going to go to Image, Mode. You'll see it's in RGB right now. We're going to switch it to CMYK color. It's going to ask us, we're going to discard an adjustment layer. Do we want to do that anyway? We do not press OK. We're going to press Flatten. We're going to flatten this image into one thing. We're going to say OK. Notice now it's just one layer. It says CMYK up here. So all we're going to do is go to File, Save. And we're just replacing the one that we already had there. It's saved. We can close out of that. And when we come to our page, you're going to watch this picture when I click on this window, and you're going to notice that it lightens because it's replacing that picture with a new one. Here it comes. There it is. So now this photo is ready to go. And what you need to do is you need to go through each one of your photos or images on the page and make sure that you've done that process so that it prints out nice and neat. That's it.